BlogTalkRadio, the world's largest online radio network.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome to the Phantom Zone radio show.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And we have the lovely Wicked J. Faye in the chat room waiting to keep you all entertained throughout the show. And, well, I'm from the East Coast originally, and as is our guest for the evening, we are super thrilled to have with us Miss Marilyn Ghigliotti. Hey, Marilyn.
Hey, how are you guys?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Crazy busy day.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's a crazy busy week as well.
That's wonderful, though. We're so glad that you're crazy busy, and thanks for taking the time out to be here with us tonight.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, of course, of course. How was your Slurpee? I heard you got a Slurpee before to prepare for the madness.
It's good, but it's nearing the end of the cup, so not much longer.
I know. I hate when that happens. We're like kind of Slurpee whores, though. Like, we love the crap out of Slurpees. It's kind of bad.
It's like when it gets really hot out here in LA, it's just the only thing that's just going to do it.
Yeah, totally.
I'm a Coke person. What are you?
We're kind of the suicide Slurpee people. We kind of mix the flavors together. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Usually just the cherry and the blue. What's the blue one? What is that?
I don't know. It depends. Blue raspberry, something.
Blue.
It depends because each 7-Eleven has different flavors. So it's like a little, the Coke. I like the soda ones, though. I do like the soda flavors. Those are cool, like when they have like the Coke or Mountain Dew or something crazy. But, yay, well, we're happy that you enjoyed your Slurpee in the hot LA heat. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. And let's see, there's so much we want to know. I guess we should start at the beginning. Tell us a bit about your childhood and some of your early influences.
Gosh, let's see. Well, born in New York, raised most of my life in New Jersey. Both my parents are from Puerto Rico.
Woo!
Yeah. But it's, I don't know, growing up, I started off as very, very shy. So I think if you asked most people who knew me then if I would ever be in the entertainment business, they'd be like, no way.
Wow.
I didn't even talk when I was in kindergarten kindergarten.
Wow.
I'd have to say that was probably my first experience as far as being in front of the crowd and getting some kind of recognition, because the teacher would line us up against the closet so that we can count off, and that's how she did attendance. And everybody had an assigned number. And so whenever it came to my number, I would not say a thing. I was too shy. I wouldn't say.
Do you remember what your number was?
I don't. I really don't. But one day the teacher kind of took me aside and she says, it's like, you really have to talk in school. It's like, how about if I come to your home, you can show me around or whatever, and will you talk for me the next day in school? So I was like, okay. So she came over to my house. I was so excited. And most people would probably think that they're in trouble when the teacher comes to the house, but I was excited about it. In fact, she couldn't quite, she was quite surprised that I was the same child, because I was so excited that I was kind of showing her around, and she's like, this is not the same person that's in school. I was, just showing her things. I was talkative. I was kind of, a little hyper, as most 5-year-olds are.
Sure.
And so the next day when I went into school, we lined up and everybody's saying their numbers. I'm sure I had to have one of the low numbers, because I'm not remembering for sure, but I think it was by height. And
okay.
We all know that I'm not very tall.
So
it's always been the case. But once I got to my number, I said my number, and everybody's jaws just dropped.
Wow.
And so I think it kind of left an impression on me, because it's something that I really remember.
Right.
And, it's, even though it wasn't a stage, think in some degree it gives the same feeling of the stage.
Right, right. And how neat of your teacher to to go out of her way like that to reach out to you and kind of literally bring you out of your shell and be like, okay, girl, like look, you gotta take part in this.
And my teachers.
Yeah, I mean, it's like very few teachers that are out there like that right now.
Yeah. I mean, what a good lesson too, because it's like you've got to be a part of life. You can't hide who you are. Right. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's all. Now, I can't remember the teacher's name, but she did leave an impression.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and then for me, too, I was always drawn to musicals on TV. I always wanted to dance, the ballet, and all that kind of stuff. But growing up, and this is nothing against my parents or anything like that, but growing up, it was, food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I had to wait until I was in my 20s before I can actually go to a dance class.
Right.
but I always seemed to be of the creative mind because I would also like to draw. But, it was never what's the word? When it's embraced by the parents and they kind of, oh, this is good, you should do more or anything like that.
Right.
So, but, and I didn't know that you can actually make a living off of that, even though it's something that you're watching on TV, because, like I said, liking the musical TV shows and watching people do this, it's not something that I comprehended to know that I can actually make a career out of that.
Right.
So, but, it wasn't until I grew up, I went to quite a few different schools, and growing up, once I was actually on my own, that after doing the whole 9-to-5 office jobs, but then I kind of went into hair and makeup, working in a salon, so that kind of let some of my creative juices out. And then I found my way to the theater and all that.
Yeah, I mean, what got you interested in that particular field of like cosmetology? Like, how did you segue into that?
Well, when I was in high school, they actually offered it in the high school that I was going to, in Sanford High School, by the way.
Okay.
Biology was one of the classes that needed to be taken, and frankly, I just didn't want to dissect a frog so that I can learn how to do hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And the reason it was a requirement, though, is because we needed to learn the bones and the muscles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we deal with the skin and the bones and the head structure and all that. So that's why it was a requirement. So I just nixed the idea. And I just went on with life, being a secretary, working in an office and all that kind. And then I got married, had my daughter. And once I was on maternity leave, I thought, hey, why not? Let me go to school. I really don't want to go back to the office job. And that's basically when I went into school for hair and makeup. And I'm glad I made that decision.
Right, and it's something that you really enjoy.
Yeah, I love creativeness. Yeah.
Nice. And when did you get bitten by the acting bug? How did that happen?
A divorce.
I see. Wonderful. Sometimes the most creative things come out of the worst times in our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, I always loved watching those musicals on TV, the acting, and just being someone else. And I'd always thought about, thinking of modeling, petite modeling, but who knew that you could do that as well.
Right.
So it just kind of like wiggled my way. It's like, all right, how do I get started on this? Because after my divorce, I felt like I needed to find something for me. And I kind of started doing or finding little things in the newspaper, and just eventually found my way into doing community theater. Actually, before that, I found someone who was coming in from New York, from the Actors Studio. John Ide is his name, and he currently still teaches out in Red Bank, or Eatontown area actually, at ATI. And I went to classes for about a year and a half, and then I felt like I was comfortable enough to start going out there and auditioning at area community theaters. But
how old were you?
Though, oh gosh, I think I was about 25 at the time.
So,
yeah.
She's a baby.
So what are some of your favorite films and actors that might have had an influence on you back then?
You know, I don't know that it was necessarily that anybody had an influence on me. I know that I used to love watching Danny Kaye.
Oh, I love Danny Kaye. I love me some Danny Kaye. Oh, my God. He's so silly.
Yeah. Jerry Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't say that they're influences. I just loved watching their movies, and all for different reasons as well. A lot of those old movies. Gone with the Wind, West Side Story.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, because I'm from the East Coast, too, they used to have some really good movies on TV. They really did, and especially, Channel 13, they used to show some great black and whites back then, and, we grew up watching those as well. So I love those movies. They're great, memorable films and just really entertaining. And, I mean, Jerry Lewis used to just make me laugh like crazy. He's another silly one. I think it was all the facial expressions and the physical comedy, the tripping, the falling down. I remember the Nutty Professor, that scene where he's sitting in the chair and he's just sinking into the chair, and there's almost no dialogue for a minute, and it's just you're just watching him struggle with the chair. It was just.
I used to love watching him when I was little. I don't even think I've seen a Jerry Lewis movie since I was 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen a Jerry Lewis movie on TV. It's they need to bring that back a little bit.
Something about that.
Yeah. But
hit him up on Netflix.
I knew. I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying we gotta hit him up on Netflix.
Yeah, there you go.
Good one. Oh, wow.
But I wish I knew, because when I was watching it, I enjoyed it from a different perspective. And once I started acting, I looked at things differently. And it's I looked at the acting differently. And I would watch it in a different way so that I kind of could see and maybe take in what it is that they're doing. Although acting, for me, has to come from a very natural place, trying to invoke some of my memories or things that have happened to me in the past and kind of relate it so that I can find the realism and the naturalism to it.
Right, exactly. Well, of course, what a lot of us are dying to know, especially some people in chat, how did Clerks come about for you?
Well, I was doing the community theater circuit. Brian and I had actually worked together at this point already as well. I'm trying to think how long I was doing the theater circuit before Clerks came around. I would have to say maybe 2, maybe 3 years.
Oh, nice.
No more than 4. And I was in the middle of doing a show called Same Time Next Year. I heard about auditions that they were doing at the First Avenue Playhouse, which I think was, one of the theaters that I kind of started off at.
Okay.
So after rehearsal, I went to the theater, did my monologue, which was horrendous, by the way. It's I saw the 10th anniversary edition, it really wasn't that good. I've done it so much better than that. But for Kevin, there was enough emotion in there that he saw something and that he really liked. God. Then he called me back. I don't even remember if it was a day or two or not. I honestly don't remember. But asked me if I would go down to the convenience store so that I can get the script, so that I can read it and see if I felt comfortable with the dialogue.
Right. Yeah, because you had a lot to say.
Well, it wasn't so much how much I had to say, but certain particular things I had to say.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, because, I mean, that film's become such a cult classic. I mean, I even have a Berserker T-shirt, and every time I got at a comic convention, and every time I wear it out, like, there's always, it never fails, there's always somebody that's like, hey! You know? Oh, my God.
That's
it's such a memorable. Yeah, I know. It's such a memorable film. And I remember I saw it right around when it first came out, and I loved it then. It made such an impression on me because, you know, it was a local thing, and I was like, Jersey! And, you know, I just really, it was hysterical, which was really funny, and I loved that they went there, you know, like he didn't, you know, it was like kind of no holds barred, and, you know, the jokes, and, you know, 37, yeah, I mean, it was, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you know, it's like, once I picked it up, I took it home, and I was reading it at work the next day because it was a little bit slow in the salon, and I was laughing. I was really laughing, and it was like, yes, I want to do this. And it was my first opportunity to get to do, like, a film, and with a pretty decent part. So, yeah I was thrilled to do that. And then when he had me, when they were still trying to cast the role of Dante and a couple of the other roles, he had me go over there so that I can actually be a reader and read with whomever they had in mind for the role of Dante. And when I saw Brian, I was really happy. Yeah. So, you know, it's all a really, really great experience.
Yeah, because you guys seem to have to have really good chemistry together, you know. Yeah. I love that he was painting your nails. I love that scene. It's so cute.
I know, isn't it though?
Yeah, it is. Because I was like, oh, he's sensitive.
Although it was not a comfortable area to sit in, you know.
I'm sure. I mean, because that store probably looks a lot bigger on film than it actually was in real life.
Yeah, it was a little cramped, so you couldn't quite do that so that your legs were comfortable. Plus, I don't know, those plastic mats with the big holes, you know, so that, you know, the dirt. I was sitting on that. It hurt.
Yeah, those are pretty hard on the feet for sure. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we were watching that last week, and I was saying to Nikki that you should have won an Oscar for that film. Like that
thank you.
Gee, like that when you were that scene where you're like yelling at him.
Oh yeah, after Randall spills the beans and tells her what's going on.
Yeah, how long did it take you to memorize all that dialogue? There was like a ton.
I know. I was, I know. And
it's like the Puerto Rican Italian came out at you, girl. You were like, oh hell no.
About half of, because there was so much dialogue, and even though, I mean, that's pretty much when I get mad, that's actually pretty much how I look and sound and all that kind of stuff. But we did have to kind of split it into two because it was just so much.
Yeah.
To just kind of spew out there.
Yeah, it's great because you're just like da, 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 da. I'm like, oh hell yeah, girl, like a Tommy gun. She was like ba 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 ba. I love you. Oh man, I mean seriously, it's a great film. Let's see here. And when did you make the transition after that? Like what were you doing in between before you moved out to LA?
Still doing theater.
Okay.
Doing as many auditions as I could find in New York, and working at the salon still as well. It's amazing, you know, how much people think that your life changes and how much money they think you're making. And
I'm sure people were like, why aren't you driving around a limousine and all that madness? You're like, really?
Yeah, what are you doing here? Maybe not a limousine, but they just really expected that there'd be so much more. It's like, this is a low-budget independent movie. I got a little bit of money, and that was it. And, got a little bit of notoriety, but it's not like it actually did anything to put me on the map. There was something more that was needed. And to be honest, too, I think if we all knew about the business a little bit better and knew that, maybe publicists might have helped when Clerks was getting all the notoriety.
Right.
You don't know for sure, but I think it might have helped us along, having somebody on our side who knew the business end of it to kind of push things along.
Sure.
And we didn't.
Yeah, because you were all so young and just like literally just starting out, And I mean, it's always like that. Like if you knew, now what you, reverse it, or if you knew then what you know now, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But even still, I mean, it's a role that obviously you're always going to be remembered for, which is great.
Yeah.
Because it has such an impact on people, and you're now that you're so busy and doing so many other things, and I think it's great that you're still making yourself known, and you're really loved throughout the community, and people are really excited to see what you're doing. Like people are like, oh wow, like oh my God, I love that movie, and I remember her. It's nice.
Yeah, it is. It actually is. To me, it's kind of a validation of what I did, because we're our worst critics.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the scenes that were cut out of mine, I was actually quite happy that they were cut out, because I personally didn't feel that I did as good as I could have on those scenes anyway.
Okay. Did you get to watch them?
Yeah, because some of those scenes were actually in the film when it was shown at the IFFM in New York, and that's where it actually got picked up for Sundance, and so some of those scenes were actually taken out for Sundance.
Oh.
And then even once it was picked up by Miramax at Sundance, even more little tightening up was done as well.
Oh, I'm sure. We all hear about how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
The little compromises you have to make.
Yes.
You're like, okay.
But, I just see it as a validation, that people actually liked what I did, and so it kind of keeps me wanting to move on and trying to get some more. And then really, in reality, it's what I really love to do. And I don't care if it's in front of the camera or behind the camera. I love being on set.
Yeah, I mean, because you're pretty diversified at this point, I mean, you've done the hair and makeup, you've been in front of it, you've been behind it as a producer as well, you've got all this theater experience. I mean, you have like a world of knowledge at this point for, so many other people, and I'm sure it's like I'm a chef and I'm comfortable in any kitchen, you know what I mean? Like as soon as you get off set, it's like you're home,
Right. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I've done hair and makeup on sets as well, so I've almost done it all. It's like, and even Alien Armageddon, the latest film that I did, it was a pretty small crew. So you help out wherever you can.
Sure. Absolutely.
And you've been a producer on a few films, right?
Well, I helped out a friend with a short film of hers, so I kind of helped her with that wherever she needed some help. I don't know that I could say that I've worn the big producer hat. But when you help out in whatever way you can, it's like the producer bone is kind of thrown your way, which is always good.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, I think we're going to take a short little break here, and we're going to hang tight, and we will be right back.
Captain's log, stardate 246-810. As I walked by Lieutenant Uhura this evening, the following events transpired. Uhura, that's quite an interesting perfume you're wearing.
Why, thank you, Captain. It's Stargasm from Planet Houston. That new fragrance by Wicked Potions that's available at Studio3BOnline.com.
It's an intoxicating aroma. Almost makes me wish I was a girl.
Well, it is a unisex fragrance, Captain. You can wear it, too.
You mean Mr. Spunk can wear it?
Yes.
And boners?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jackoff and Sulu, too?
And Sulu, too.
Ooh. Attention all personnel. This is Captain Cock of the starship Inner Thighs. I want you all to do me a favor and try Wicked Potion Stargasm. It'll get your rockets off. Let's try it. Hi there, green alien woman.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. I'm gonna go powder my nose. Can you show me where the head is?
She's gonna blow, Captain. Yes, Mr. Slut, I can see that. Do you mind? Not her, Captain. The ship. It appears the introduction of stargasm into our atmosphere is the precise mixture of elements it takes to create a Big Bang. That is highly illogical, Mr. Slut. One cannot simply recreate the Big. Boners, what's your analysis? We're dead, Jim.
Wicked Potions perfumes are not tested on lions, tigers, or bears.
Oh my. Stargasm from Studio3BOnline.com. We're back.
That was great.
That was Jay. That was Jay and Jay Faye, who's running our chat room, and I was the green alien woman. I was like, oh, Cassie. That was my big line.
Good times.
So crazy. Sorry about the sound effects. She's probably like, ah! The Big Bang was pretty loud.
Well, it's supposed to be Big Bang.
No, it wasn't. It didn't scare me or anything.
Awesome. Crazy.
So, we'd like to take a moment now to thank the folks at Ghost Tales Television Network for also broadcasting our show every week, along with some other really cool ghosts.
It's gonna be all right, Jay. I promise.
Okay, where was I? Some other.
You were thanking the Ghost Tales Network for broadcasting our show.
Broadcasting our show every week, with along with some other really cool, entertaining paranormal programming. You can find them at GhostTalesTV.com.
Oh, yes. And we'd also like to thank our friends at Get Fanged for embracing us and supporting our shows every week. Get Fanged is a social network dedicated to supporting and promoting paranormal artists, authors, musicians, researchers, as well as witches, vampires, and anyone of the real paranormal persuasion. Ooh. Go get bitten by them at GetFanged.com. Thank you very much.
So, I want to talk about another one of my favorite movie genres, sci-fi.
Ooh.
I love it.
Tell us about the film Alien Armageddon.
Well, I filmed that about a year and a half ago. Neil Johnston, he's the writer, director, and probably about every other hat as well, because he edited it and did a lot of special effects to it and all. But my main role there, you could say, was doing hair and makeup.
Okay.
And he asked me, it's like, what do I want to do? And I said definitely both, but I can't do both at the same time.
Right.
I don't know how directors act at the same time because there's just so much to think about.
Yeah, it just seems like you're constantly having to shift gears, like mentally.
Yeah. And also as far as like when I'm doing hair and makeup on set, I am very conscious of the actors and making sure that they're taken care of, and that if the director needs somebody or anybody needs something that I'm supposed to help out with or get or do or change or anything, I'm just pretty much aware, and also in the fact that I like watching what's going on because I like learning from it, but I need to make sure that things are taken care of, and so I'm making sure that I'm on top of it sometimes even before they even ask for it.
Right.
So that's where my mind is set. So Neil understood that very well, and so he made it a point that my scene, it was just one day, one afternoon, and he would do it in a way so that anything that was done that day, the other actors were all taken care of, and this way I didn't have to be on set after I did their hair and makeup and got them ready for their scenes, so that this way I can get myself ready mentally, emotionally, and stuff, because the scene that I'm doing, it's very different from anything that I've done. And it definitely took a mindset to be in. And I really hand it to Kat, who was the lead in that movie, because we got together before our scene together and just talked it over.
Right.
What it meant to both of us and what my character was thinking and kind of putting our words differently so that we understood each other, and it was really a great experience.
Nice.
Cool. So would you like to be in more films like this, or perhaps a horror movie?
I love them both, sci-fi, horror. I love watching those movies growing up. And there's just something really, really fun about it. I actually did do, I would say more of a psychological thriller about 4 or 5 years ago called Dead and Gone. And I get killed in that. And
oh, wow.
Oh, no.
I get some special effects makeup on there. I get a cast of my arm. It was so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, horror movies are fun.
I'd totally love to. What was that?
Oh, those kind of movies are fun to act in.
Yeah, and I got to tell you though too, I would say they say that comedy is hard, and it is, but to do a horror movie and do it well and not do it over the top, I would say is really hard.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, is it easier to, I don't even know easier, like, how is it to act scared and not act like you're, you know what I mean? Like, there's a line between, like, being frightened, being scared, and then just putting it on too much, you know what I mean? Where you know what I mean? Like, is that something really hard to achieve or pull off?
It is, yeah, because you can go over the top so easily or do it very cheesy.
Right. And
I've seen some cheesy, and it's really bad when it's cheesy, but sometimes it's so bad it's so good.
It's good, exactly, yeah. Like, then it becomes campy, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, it's not like anyone's ever died to kind of take from that experience and put it into your acting, but in fact, in Dead and Gone, when I am killed and axed, you know, I got to tell you, I really thought about it a lot. I'm like, oh my God, do eyes closed, eyes open?
Right. Because what do you do? Like, what would you do instinctually if you were in that situation? Like, do you close your eyes? Do you put your hands over your eyes and have your fingers open so you can see a little bit?
Yeah. Well, there were certain actions that I had to do in the film anyway, because basically I'm going to the lead character, and he's supposed to have paid me, and he did. He gave me a check, but the check bounced. So I came back to this little cabin that he's staying at, and I'm like basically getting into his face about this check, and I'm holding this check, and so then he starts axing me, and one of the hardest lines that I've ever had to say, I could never get it out, even during rehearsal, without cracking up, was, ow.
Ow.
How do you say that with a straight face when you're holding a check up to the sky and he's just axed you?
And that's what you're supposed to say, ow, yeah.
Like,
not like,
ow.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I'm looking at him, and just like with that confused face, and then I died, and so I actually stayed with my eyes open, and then once the scene was done, then I cracked up.
Now, is that okay? So being with the eyes open, like one of the scenes that always impressed me as a kid was Psycho, in the shower scene. Like after she falls out of the tub and she's on the floor, and there's that long camera shot, like from her eye, mm-hmm. and it just like, how difficult is that to not blink? Because she didn't blink for a long time, and in death scenes,
they totally paused that. That was a still shot.
Thanks for bursting my bubble there. No, but seriously, like, don't you seriously have to lay there and not blink for a while?
It's not only blinking, breathing.
Yeah. I mean, like how hard is that to just completely be motionless? Like, where do you go? Do you meditate? Is it just,
And the only way that I can actually describe it, and because this is what I did also when I was in a play, and I was playing a blind woman.
Right.
And sometimes when you kind of go off into that daydream state, and you're just kind of off, and you really don't blink when you're doing that.
Right.
So that's kind of like where I take it.
Wow. Because that's something that's always fascinated me whenever I see that done on film. I'm like, how do they do that? Like, because I feel like I blink all the time,
Yeah, and we do. But it's when you're kind of laying there, it's basically take everything out of focus.
Right.
So that you're not really seeing anything, so that it doesn't distract you.
Right.
What I never got is the guy who comes along and finds your body, and then he closes your eyes if they're open. Like, what the hell is that?
Oh. Right.
Like, he doesn't want to see your eyes or something?
Don't look at me.
Well, you ever see those paintings where it seems like the eyes are following you? I guess it would.
Yeah, I guess. I guess so. Or is that to be some kind of human emotion thing? Like, oh God, rest now.
Honestly, I don't know, and I don't know that was actually. I don't recall it being done in Dead and Gone, after, because I think
they just left her there. They're like, cut, we're done.
Yeah. I actually had to do that scene quite a few different times, and
wow.
one of them being on the floor, and then another one had to be done where I was actually on a crate and then had to fall back into someone else's arms. I forget what the reason behind that was, but they needed me up a little bit higher and all that.
Oh, because you're so tiny.
You got to be careful with that, because that's how Jeff Conaway broke his back.
Oh, really?
Oh, because he got...
Yeah, he was, doing that, he was supposed to jump back into someone's arms, and the guy was, drunk and missed his cue and dropped him or let him fall on the stage.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, just like the in The Exorcist with Ellen Burstyn, that scene where she gets smacked when Reagan's freaking out, and she gets smacked and she gets tossed across the room. I guess the director really wanted them to wallop her, so they hit her really hard, and you could see when she falls back, she puts her hand right on her back, she's hurt. He was no, you're gonna toss that girl. You're gonna toss her, because I want to see. He wanted to see the emotion in her face, and she really hurt her back.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been slapped on stage, and I would get slapped, and then I smacked back, and we tried to do it, but it was on now. I mean, we tried to do it so that it wouldn't sting, but, you know, you almost have to kind of do it in a certain way because...
How do you half slap somebody?
Why can't they just do it in slow motion and then speed up the footage?
No, when you're on stage, though, it's right there in your face, like, damn you!
Yeah.
You know?
and actually, the way to get more noise is to actually cup your hand versus the slap.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there, like, a slapping method? Like, is there, like, a certain way that you... Yeah, we found that cupping the hand to a certain degree would lessen the blow a slight bit, but make more noise.
No, you should put bubble wrap along your hand so, you know, it's soft and it still makes a pop sound.
Oh my God! I wish it was that easy. Oh
yeah.
Goodness. Wow, that's so intense though. Like how you guys as actors put yourselves in those emotional situations like that, and then have to it's just part of what you're doing. You know, like I said,
and a lot of times it's because we are in that emotional state that sometimes you find yourself in that moment, and then all of a sudden it's like after we're off stage, like in between scenes, it's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay, yeah. It's like, you know, so that
Are
you know?
Mad? Are you mad?
Don't forget you signed something.
I know. Like, I'll be waiting for you out back.
But it also led for a really great moment.
Right, yeah, because people, especially like when you're live on stage and the audience like doesn't, they're like, you know, they know it's like, oh, he hit her, he really hit her. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. And sometimes it's kind of hard to take it too when you've got the audience that is you know, only about 3 feet away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, that's crazy. I'm going to backtrack for a second here because I had a few people ask me over the weekend just to backtrack to Clerks for a minute. They just wanted to know, do you still keep in touch with anybody from the film in terms of in the present day? Like, are you still anybody or?
Yeah, the ones that I really keep in touch with are Brian and also Scott Sciaffo, who plays Chuli's gum rep.
Okay, Chuli's guy. Chuli's gum. Oh my God, goodness, awesome. All right, let's see, where are we at here? Okay, yes, here we go. Let's talk about the comic conventions. You've been kind of jet-setting around the country, making appearances at all these really cool cons lately, like Comic-Con and most recently the Steel City Con in Pittsburgh. Those must be a lot of fun and getting to, you know, mingle with the fans and hanging out with your fellow peers. Do you have any other appearances coming up that you'd like to tell us about?
I do, actually. I have an appearance in Rochester. I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I'm telling everybody to get their pens and papers ready.
Oh. So in September, the 21st to the 23rd, I'll be in Rochester, New York at the Rochester Sci-Fi Anime Convention. It's called RockCon.
Cool.
And then October's a busy month.
Oh, I'm sure.
The first weekend of October, I'll be in Nashville at the Nashville Comic and Horror Festival. The second week of October, I'll be in Sacramento at a Sacramento Horror and Film Festival. That one I can actually drive to, so that'll be cool.
Nice, little road trip.
And then the third weekend of October, I'll be in Tampa Bay in Florida at the Tampa Bay Comic Con, and that's where I really get to have some fun because I'll be extending my stay just before or just after that, actually, and visiting with my family. I can't wait. And then the third weekend, this will be my second appearance at this show. It's called the GMX Geek Media Expo. I've been there, let's see, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago at their first convention, so it'll be interesting to see what it's actually grown into.
Nice.
And then to kind of finish off the year, I'll be at Frank & Sons at Nuke the Fridge Con on November 10th.
Wow.
Well, that sounds fun.
You're going to be a busy bee.
Yes, and that's not even the end of it, really. It's like, because there's 2 more conventions that I have as of right now next year.
Nice. Yeah, she's already talking about next year. Like, that's how busy she is, people. She's in demand. Okay.
It's quite great. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there is a festival kind of going on right now in Central Park that'll be at the end of the month. And,
for the to show Clerks, right? But you have to. It's a voting thing, right?
It's a voting thing, yeah. And I'm trying to pull it up here on Facebook now. See if I can find the link and the name exactly, so that I don't screw it up, because I do that very well. Here it is: the Central Park Conservancy Film Festival. And so basically it's from August 21st to the 25th. And so they have their films selected except for the 25th, where it's a voting, they have the public vote between Coming to America and Clerks.
I'm like, really?
What?
Coming
and
to America.
I thought it's the most awesome thing. So they're going to be showing these movies in Central Park.
Yeah. I mean, that's great, because Central Park is going to be on the Great Lawn, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge. It's where they have concerts and stuff, and there's like literally you could pack them in. I mean,
the
thousands.
Great Lawn of China.
No, it's the Great Lawn in Central Park in New York.
Oh.
Damn it.
And it will be rain or shine. Can you imagine if it rained? Oh my gosh.
But that's fun. I've actually done that once. I've seen a movie there where it was raining, and it was actually it wasn't a big deal. Everyone was prepared for it. You just kind of set up, and it actually wasn't too bad of a thunderstorm either, because sometimes, it gets a little crazy. It's like windy and lightning. Everybody's like, hey. But no, that's fun. So people have to vote if they want to see Clerks, right?
Yes, they have to vote. And actually, I'm looking at it right now. It's like right now the vote is $13.81 for Clerks and $11.26 for Coming to America.
That's what I'm talking about.
Catching up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Vote.
Woo!
Well, of course, because everyone's seen Coming to America a zillion times. Why would they want to see that again?
And Clerks has the edge because it's a cult movie.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it what it is, because it's still, to this day, like, it's well known among certain people, and that's what makes it so special and unique. And people are like, oh, I'd love to see Clerks because it's funny as hell. The movie is so funny. Oh, that's awesome. So the Central Park, you go to the centralparkconservancy.com. Is that the name of it?
Gosh, it's a pretty long. It's a pretty long email website address here, but it's at abclocal.go.com, and there is a link at the bottom of the page, the Central Park Conservancy Film Festival. So if you click on that, it should take you to the proper site.
Nice. Wonderful. Well, we hope that Clerks is, it's looking right now as if it's got the edge and it's going to make it. So that would be really, really cool.
Can we go to that?
I want to go there. And you know what? I lied, because it's like it's still an even bigger web link than I thought it was.
Keep going. It's a paragraph.
I actually just tried. I just tried that abclocal.go.com, and it's like, nope, okay, that's not going to take them there. Here's the easiest way. If you friend me on Facebook, and it'll be just look for me, Marilyn Ghigliotti, and I will have the link up on there.
There you go. There you go.
So, do you have any upcoming film or television shows in the works that you could discuss with us?
I do have a couple of projects kind of in the works. It's more of they're waiting for funding. So I don't even want to say what it is, because
we know how that goes, girl.
Oh, yeah. I've had at the 11th hour. I mean, actually, it's more, it was more like the 11th and a half hour.
Yeah. He's like, I ain't jinxing it. I'm not jinxing it.
Exactly. Exactly.
I call jinx on that. Yeah. I hear ya. So tell us about Images by Marilyn.
Well, I've always been interested with photography. And I'd say about 4.5 years ago, I decided, oh, heck, I'm going to get myself a digital camera, and just kind of started playing with it and teaching myself. And being that I was kind of doing hair and makeup already, I thought it was a nice transition. It's like, oh, why don't I do headshots?
Right.
I've always looked for a photographer that would kind of do headshots for me in a way that I didn't feel like I was getting stiff in front of the camera. Because to me, it's like I was an actress, not a model, in my head. And I would be put in these poses, and I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. I'm losing whatever character I'm trying to portray because I'm being told, put your arm this way, move your head that way, put your arm this way.
Right.
So, once I felt comfortable with my camera, and then I actually found a place where I can actually take classes at a very decent price, I decided to, once I felt comfortable, I'm going to start. I took some friends of mine. I'm like, I have this technique. I want to try it. It's like, I'll give you headshots for free. Let me just kind of see where it goes with this. And so through trial and error, it's just kind of coming along, and I found a little niche for myself. Something, again, creative. I really enjoy it. I love taking photographs. And I like being the person's director, not the photographer. And I actually have anybody who gets headshots with me to fill out a little form so that I can get an idea of what it is that they submit themselves for, what kind of characters they see themselves as, who they see themselves as, and things like that. And,
right.
And we'll kind of go through this little routine of just calling out scenes or, whatever it is that they see themselves as, and then I will try to kind of make little scenes about it.
Right. Well, that's cool. And it's something you obviously really enjoy doing. And I mean, I've seen a lot of your photographs on Facebook, and they're really, really nice. Even just like the other shots of like, what's that bridge in Venice? Is that Venice Beach?
Yeah.
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 Those are really nice.
I really like doing just architectural or just scenic shots.
Right.
And just finding what it is that's kind of going on out there and taking a shot of it and then playing around in Photoshop.
Yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to do that myself. Like I'm a newbie with Photoshop.
You're getting better.
I'm trying, man. Goodness.
But yeah, it's those scenes that I took of Venice canals, and I just applied. I don't even remember what the technique was that I applied in Photoshop to that, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. It reminds me of like the velvet pictures,
Yeah,
back
they were
in the
really,
day.
really pretty, really pretty. Yeah, and I was going to say they looked like they were vintage pictures, like really, really nice. Very, very well done. You're welcome. So could you tell us and our listeners where we can find you these days? Give us your Facebook, Twitter, your website. Let's kind of put it on their face where they can find you.
Well, on Facebook, as I mentioned, you can just look for Marilyn Ghigliotti and friend me. And on Twitter, I really don't Twitter as much as I should, and that's only because I don't have it on my phone because I have a lousy phone.
Are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter, and I am that Clerks girl.
There you go, that Clerks girl.
Well, yeah, I figured it's like that's because the reason I came up with that handle is people would see me, but they wouldn't expect that it was me. So it's like, who you look like? You look like that Clerks girl.
You're like, well, guess what? I am.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to say anything. I would just kind of look at them and, you are, oh, wow, so.
Oh, my goodness.
So Marilyn, We were wondering if you could do a soundbite for us, maybe.
Oh, I'd love to. Would love to. Let me wet the whistle.
Do it, girl. Wet your whistle.
Okay. Okay. This is Marilyn Ghigliotti, and you're listening to Nikki, Meow, and Jay Luna on the Phantom Zone radio show.
Work it.
I like that.
Awesome. You didn't like it, or you want to do another one? Because I thought that was good.
You mean I have to do it again?
No.
That was so good.
No,
I'm like, girl, it's like it's a one-shot take, okay? No, and you're you like I even did it the first time. Okay, so, and your images by Marilyn.
That was lucky.
It's like you're lucky I even did it at all. Okay, and your images by Marilyn is a website, right?
Here's the situation. I had Mobile Me. And they took away Mobile Me, so I'm trying to get because I do have a GoDaddy hosting now, and I'm trying to get it synced up with my computer with the iWeb. And right now, my website for MarilynGhigliotti.com is up. I can't get to sync up the other ones, which is my hair and makeup and images by Marilyn.
Okay.
So it's when I actually have a day, because it'll probably take a full morning. I gotta call GoDaddy.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I gotta call GoDaddy so that they can help me out with this.
Yeah, but you do have a Facebook page though for Images by Marilyn.
I do. It's like Images by Marilyn on Facebook, and so you can see all the headshot photos and things that I've taken down in Santa Monica, Venice, and just around everywhere.
Groovy. And you have some type of a special going on for your LA area people?
I do. Well, right now I have anybody because I sent out on my contact list. Anybody who's on my contact list, it's basically they get the headshot for 3 as a 2. So basically they're getting the whole look for free.
Nice.
And then I'm offering 25% off to anybody else.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, that's a really good deal. I mean, I know what some of my friends have paid for headshots, and it ain't like that. I'm like,
I think even my regular pricing is pretty good comparatively to a lot of the other headshot photographers out there.
It's really competitive. Yeah, I mean, your prices are really good because I mean, some of them just really charge a lot of money for that. You know, It's like wow, you know, and especially when you're struggling, it's tough.
Yeah, and when I was making up the prices, I was making sure to, I was looking at it from my perspective of going out there and looking for headshots. So I really wanted to make it affordable. And I would look at my photos, and I would be honest with myself, critiquing my photos comparatively to other photographers where I was looking at pricing and looking at their websites, and I think I'm pretty compatible.
Yeah, absolutely. And as an actor as well, like how often do you recommend getting new headshots? Like, is that something you would recommend like once a year or like twice a year? Like what do you think?
I honestly feel, and sometimes agents will say, it's like, oh, you need to do headshots because they're not working.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know, right? You kind of have to look at it and really judge it for yourself. Right. In that respect, but I say that if you change your look in any way, you kind of do need new headshots, because sometimes I love casting directors, and some of them will say they don't have an imagination, where they don't see quite. It's like if you have long hair and all of a sudden you cut it short, yeah, you're definitely going to need new shots.
Sure.
Because I mean, at least the one thing that I have going for me when with some of the shots that I've used for myself. And I'll go in, and I've had casting directors say, it's like, oh, wow, you look like you're shot. Thank you. So obviously there's a lot of people still going into the casting sessions and not looking like their photograph.
Right.
So
yeah, I was going to say, like, what is that? You know, how is it that they don't, you know, like
because
people
some
look
of
at
them
them?
wait 10 years and they're still using the photos that they used 10 years ago.
You're like, honey, you don't look like that girl. Yeah.
No.
Wow. And what are some of the looks that you like that you recommend for people? Because a lot of my friends have like a lot of different looks. Like some of them have like 10 different ones, or even more than that. And then they have to shave all those pictures down to maybe 2 or 3. Like what do you think are like the best shots to bring to people?
It's got to invoke something, especially in the eyes. It's got to say something.
Right.
That's how I feel. And show them, try to pick out the ones that you like the best and what really you feel connected to, and then maybe show them to people who know nothing about the business and what are they drawn to. Right. And market. But because sometimes they really don't know anything about the business, but they're drawn to the photo.
Right.
And then obviously, you know, it's really going to come down to your agent. If you have one, then they'll usually like the one that you don't like.
Yeah, I that tends to happen a lot. Like, oh, you know, they pick one that you're.
What do you use for backgrounds?
I try not to, you know, I try not to have the background too visible. So I try to go with a good depth of field. And try to have areas that will kind of do something nice but not draw your attention to it. So I actually just kind of walk around and see what I like in the background and then look at the shot, and sometimes I'm just walking around in my neighborhood because I like natural light. I really don't. I have studio lights, but as far as using them for headshots, I've really not gone there all that much. I really like the natural light.
Yeah, yeah. It just kind of
sometimes I'm just walking around and I'm like, oh, that's a great time. Make note of the time, check the area, and this way I know when to go back.
Right. When the light is, because I mean it just sets the tone and the mood for the picture, and you know brings out the best with the shadows and the light and everything. That's really cool. Awesome. Well, you know, Marilyn, we are so thrilled to have you on the show with us, and we thank you so much for being here and spending some time with us. And we're definitely.
You.
Oh, please. We look forward to seeing what you have cooking on the stove and more of your awesome photographs and everything else. All these appearances you're making. We're so happy to know you and to have had you here with us. So thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you, Joan.
So, Jay, you're welcome. So, Jay, tell everybody about our...
It was a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you had fun because we're just a couple of silly people getting to talk to some of our favorite people out there. So we're very humbled and very blessed, and we thank you very much for agreeing to be here with us.
You're welcome.
So Jay, who's on the show next week?
I don't know. Oh.
What?
That's kidding. Okay, so next week we are very excited about this creepy cool cat, Bill Oberst Jr.
Ooh.
He'll be here with us to spend a chilling night talking about the dark and scary things that go bump in the night.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in
That'll be great.
Oh my God, girl! I'm so excited about having him on. Oh my God!
I met him. I met him actually a couple months ago. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we were really looking forward to this month because we you just kicked off the whole month. I was like, Marilyn's gonna set it off, because we've got some really great actors on the show this month. I'm really excited. Really excited. So what are some of the films that Mr. Oberst is known for?
He's been in films like Nuns with Big Guns. That was cool. And Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies. And the Emmy Award-winning horror short and interactive Facebook app, take this lollipop.
Yes, we highly suggest that if you haven't done it already, I think that you should go to takethislollipop.com and try it out for yourselves. It is scary good fun, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But thanks again to Marilyn and to Wicked J. Faye from Studio3BOnline.com for keeping the party going in the chat room. We will see you meows later.
And we have one more song to play before we go. Once again, it's Bon Jovi with It's My Life.
It's my life.
Good night, everyone. See you
Bye.
next week.
Bye, Marilyn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.